I'm an idiot and forgot to turn my mic on. Hey, what's up everybody? This is Ryan with Collecting Casually, and in this video we're going to unbox some comics from the Whatnot app. So like I mentioned in the introduction, I recently bought some comic books off of the Whatnot app. Now that's just an app for your phone, and it's kind of a marketplace that makes buying and selling comics and other collectibles very, very easy. Whatnot kind of takes Instagram selling via live sales to the next level because, we've gotten used to buying and selling items on Instagram via live sales, and the claim process and payment process just really isn't polished, and Instagram isn't made for those types of events. The community has just kind of made them work out, and for the most part, they're pretty successful. Now, Whatnot has kind of taken that to the next level by integrating a live streaming feature into their application, and you can also make your purchases directly within the app. So if I was wanting to watch a live sale on comics, I can simply just hit a bid button and it will bid up in the next increment. And I can even make an offer on a comic or a lot of comics if I wanted to. It's really pretty simple. This video isn't going to be about Whatnot itself, but that is where I purchased this group of comics. One nice thing about the Whatnot app is once you've made like a single purchase in a sale, the shipping rate is added on to that initial purchase, and then subsequent orders that you might make during that same live sale get tacked onto that, and you only pay like an incremental shipping amount. I think the initial payment that I made for shipping on these was $4.50, and then an additional dollar for every additional sale that I purchased, or item that I purchased within the ongoing sale. So it makes it pretty affordable, honestly. The Whatnot seller, My Bargain Comics, is actually who I watched for these purchases, and I ended up buying 7 different lots from them. Now, when I say lots, I bought a couple individual books as well as a few lots themselves. And the great thing about Whatnot is if you find a seller that you really like, you can actually follow them within the app and, get notifications when they're going to have their next sale. And you can follow all sorts of hashtags, comics, sports cards, Pokemon, Magic the Gathering, all types of things. Funko Pop, that I know they're really popular on the Whatnot app as well. But you can find all these tags that you like to follow and then kind of monitor them in your feed and see the upcoming sales and live sales all at once. All right, with that info out of the way, let's go ahead and crack into this box. So I'll definitely say that this box was packaged really nicely. So I really appreciate that. Making sure books get to people in the condition that they bought them in is really key in this industry. And I really appreciate good packaging. So we'll see what this ends up looking like. Now I do have the box upside down because it does have my mailing information on the other side. Okay, so what we have here is actually really nice. We've got some foam that they've put in here, that instant seal form-fitting foam, which is really nice. That's an awesome way of making sure the books stay in place in transit. Now, I will say with the foam out of the way, I'm not quite as impressed with the packaging. It looks like we've got some bubble wrap underneath the comics, but let's go ahead and take a look at the bundle here. Okay, so we've got them bagged and boarded and then packaged inside of a larger bag, which is all right. I wish I would have seen some cardboard on the outside here to protect some of these edges, because as you can see here, maybe that's just a tab there of a post-it note, but a little better packaging I think would have gone a long ways. This is kind of a little piece of bubble wrap in here to add some additional packaging, and we got some Marvel trading cards. I actually have a pack of these. They were to commemorate the Heroes Reborn launch in May, and they're kind of themed after some of the mid-90s Marvel Universe trading cards. So maybe we'll make a video on these at some point. All right, so we have the group of comics here in an outer bag. A little bit of eBay tape here. See if we can get this off. Perfect. Fold that in so we don't get any tape on the books themselves. There's nothing high-end in here. I don't think I paid a ton for all of these books by any means, but it is pretty fun. The auction process and the way that buying and selling works on Whatnot You do have to be careful though, because you can kind of get in the heat of the moment and hit that bid button and actually end up paying more than you should for books, because you kind of get competitive and see who's bidding against you, and maybe on the last item for sale you lost out by $1 because somebody beat you on their pricing, and they were willing to go another $1 more than you were, and then you're kind of like competing against that person and end up spending more than you had planned on. So just keep an eye out for that. It can get pretty dangerous there for your wallet. All right, so first up we have Peter Parker, The Spectacular Spider-Man number 76. Now I bought this book here in a lot, I believe, of Spider-Man books that featured Black Cat, or no, actually I purchased a Black Cat lot, never mind. I just purchased some individual Spider-Man books, I believe, in this sale. And all of these books started out at $1. So that's another really nice thing about Whatnot. A lot of times the sellers will start their auctions at $1. And if you happen to get into a auction with only a few people watching, you can snag some books for really great prices. It's pretty amazing what you can get on there. All right, so we've got this Peter Parker Spectacular Spider-Man at Death's Door. I just like this cover here. I'm a big Black Cat and Spider-Man fan. So this cover just kind of intrigued me quite a bit. Looks to be in pretty good shape. You know, there's a lot of black on this cover. It looks like there's maybe a few spine ticks here that break the color a little bit, but overall not too bad. Next up, we have another Peter Parker Spectacular Spider-Man. This one is number 93, and again, we have a black suited Spider-Man and Black Cat featured on the cover here as well. And again, this comic looks to be in pretty good shape. That is one thing that's kind of tough to tell when you're buying on the Whatnot app, because everybody's using like their iPhone or Android phone or maybe an iPad to film their live sales, and depending on that camera quality, you may or may not be able to tell the condition of the book very well. You have to rely on that seller to be accurate with their descriptions. Some people will use kind of, you know, hey, this book's in good condition, it's in fine, very fine plus. Some people will actually say, hey, I think this book would hit a 9.2 or a 9.6, and, you know, kind of going to that CGC rating grade scale there. So you do have to be careful when you're buying on there, and just know that the condition may not be exactly what you were expecting. But I think overall, from what I've seen on the sale shows that I've watched, sellers try to be very accurate and upfront with everybody on there. Now, I wish that there was a way to maybe bring a higher quality live stream to the app. Maybe, you know, the traditional Twitch stream where you have a higher end camera and audio quality and lighting, and maybe, you know, a way to get a really nice high definition image of the comic as they're selling it. I think that would really help out and add some legitimacy to the app. All right, next up we have, oh yes, a Spider-Man 2099. For the right price, I'll usually grab this book. And this one appears to be in pretty nice shape. I don't see any major flaws or even minor flaws. Definitely excited to add this one to the collection. I know I have a couple issues of this already, a couple copies of this. I'm just a sucker for those 90s gimmicks of holograms and foil covers. I know there's a lot of people that hate them. I'm a fan of them. I don't know why. Just am. All right, next up we have a Marvel Tales. Now I bought a couple Marvel Tales in here because they're kind of a retelling of some earlier stories, and this one happens to be Marvel Tales number 52 with Spider-Man and Kingpin here. Really awesome cover here. I love the art. You know, Kingpin's got Spider-Man grabbed there, and he's almost looks like he's going to jab him with his cigarette holder here. But his mission is crush the Kingpin, and the artwork on the cover doesn't look like that's going well for Spidey. Yes. Next up, I got a collector's item classic, kind of a reprint. Thrill of the Hunt here with Kraven and Spider-Man on the cover. Now this is obviously not the original comic, but it's kind of a collector's classic reprint here. Just kind of a cool cover to have. I can't afford the real thing, so this one will have to do for now. All right, next up was a Marvel Action Spider-Man number 8, again with Black Cat on the cover here. Nothing too exciting about this one other than, again, just a Black Cat cover in the Spider-Man universe. Another Peter Parker Spectacular Spider-Man, this time number 106, Cry Vengeance here. Pretty nice cover there. Spider-Man just seems to be towering there over the Wasp, which is pretty cool. He's holding her out in his hand. Again, this was another, I think this is a two comic lot here, because we have Spectacular Spider-Man 105 as well with the Wasp on the cover as well. I think this is part of the Gang Wars storyline within the Marvel Universe. But again, I bought both of these books here featuring the Wasp in a lot. Another Marvel Tales here. This one is Marvel Tales 57, starring Spider-Man and the Lizard Lives. Another classic battle here with Lizard and Spider-Man. And I love the Spidey icon up in the top left corner here, just kind of crawling down in that circle. Pretty cool. And last but not least, one final Marvel Tales starring Spider-Man and Human Torch. Look to be battling the Lizard in the Blaze of Battle is the title of this issue here. Again, really pretty good shape. I feel pretty good about the quality of all of these comics. That's one thing that you really have to pay attention to on Whatnot, is making sure that you read the description fully of each item being auctioned off to see if there's any graders. I'm going to call them graders notes, but seller's notes regarding the quality of the comic. And then make sure you ask them to show off the comic better if you're not certain, you know, you think you see something maybe on one of the edges, or you see a crease or something here or there. Ask the seller on there to show off the book a little closer, or maybe highlight a certain area of the book. They're more than happy to show off the comic to help make that sale, and I find that really reassuring. So as you saw there, every book featured Spider-Man, and I actually forgot that this sale was a Spider-Man themed sale. So obviously every book that I ended up purchasing had Spider-Man featured either in the title or in the cover art. They were all Spider-Man titles actually that I picked up, and pretty happy to add these to my collection. Just to kind of wrap things up, I was really happy with my first purchases here on the Whatnot app. Again, I made 7 purchases out of this single sale, and they arrived to me very quickly. I think the sellers on Whatnot have 48 hours to ship the books out to the buyer, and I received these books in like 3 days after the sale, which is awesome. You know, that's faster usually than eBay, unless you get someone that happens to ship that same day and you get it in a couple days. So really impressed with the turnaround time from the time I hit bid on the app to the time the books were here today. One note about purchasing on the Whatnot app, I had to add my PayPal account to the app, and that's how you make those purchases. So whenever you're hitting bid in a live sale, if you win that item, it's going to charge your PayPal account the amount that you bid plus sales tax, and then shipping items. So there are some extra fees there. So be careful when you're buying, and make sure that you're keeping those types of extra costs in your mind when you're making purchases, especially multiple ones. Like I said earlier in the video, additional books are usually about $1 to add on to the shipping cost, but that can add up over time. You know, I had 7 books here. The first book cost $4.50 to ship, and then I added another $6 in shipping fees with these 6 additional books. Well, I hope you enjoyed this content. I'm new to getting back into the comic book hobby, and I really found the Whatnot app to be a super easy place to buy additional comics for my collection. If you did like this video, please consider giving it a thumbs up, and leave a comment below if you've used Whatnot, and let me know what you purchased on there. And if you really like the content and want to see more, consider giving me a subscribe. Thanks, and we'll see you in the next video.